And welcome to another show of Don't Get This Twisted. I am Rob, along with my co-host, as always, Tina. How you doing, Tina?
Hanging in there, Rob. How you doing?
Oh, better than you. Just being honest.
Yes, I would agree with that.
Yeah, you know,
not always, but this time for sure.
This time, I think I'm definitely doing better than you. Although my computer seems to be going a little batty, so I don't know. I'm a little
Thankfully, that's not my problem this week.
That's very true. That's very true, because generally you have something going on with your computer. But we've kind of fixed that over the last couple of weeks. But you've been pretty good. Like, it's been working for quite a while now.
Oh, you better knock on wood for that one.
Yeah, but we really made it kind of easy for you. Things are definitely much better.
I wasn't known for my technical abilities all these years, more of my creative abilities. So
that's very true. That's very true. So
it's okay. What I could do.
We made it work. That's all that matters.
You did. You did, actually. I mean, I just sat here and said, thanks.
It's true. It's true. So, I mean, we got to be honest, right? I mean, it is what it is. So, but
it works.
Hey, we were talking before we got on here about how cool we are and how you can go and visit our social medias and stuff. I mean, not really. I was like, we were? Yeah, we weren't. But you can check us out on Facebook and Instagram and Twitter now. I've been tweeting things lately. And there's a couple things on YouTube, but we're going to work on that. Also, you can hear us on Spotify, Apple, Google, Amazon, iHeartRadio, and pretty much anywhere you can hear podcasts, because I've thrown them everywhere. Actually, before we get too in deep, I believe we got maybe not a new country, but somebody was listening. Let's see. Boom.
A new country, huh?
I don't know if it's a new country, but I think we got India again. So in a different place,
because we had quite a few places for them.
We did. I think this one was in Mumbai, and I believe that was today. Yeah, today. So
nice.
In Maharashtra, and that was in Mumbai. So again, someone's hearing us in India again, which is kind of nice. So
thank you for listening.
Yes, very cool. And we had someone in Lancaster today. Listen. So yeah, they're really listening to that, making it harder to get married. It's kind of an interesting thing. I think, it kind of hit with people. Matter of fact, so much, before we get in too deep, again, before we get on this, let's go over here. So my friend down the street, who I talked about on one of our other shows, texted me saying that whatever I said about her was wrong. So I'll have to say sorry on here, but
you don't have to say you're sorry. This is our podcast.
No, if we fuck up, we got to say it. Because I'm not all, I don't want to put out stuff that's like wrong information. If I'm wrong, I'm wrong. But this one, she actually sent me a link after we put out the harder to get married. Because I remember I said there should be a questionnaire or a test or some kind of shit. There's a book. It's called 101 Questions to Ask Before You Get Engaged. So there you have it. There is something, there is some kind of starting block for things to ask before you, and that's not even married, that's engaged. This is some shit you better ask before you even give him the ring. So I got to give him some credit on that. She sent me that. So I found that was interesting. So for people out there who are contemplating that, you might want to pick up that book. I mean, don't do it. I mean, yes, don't do it. I mean, I can't say that. I'm a sucker for that love shit, but
Well, my divorce was final on the 7th, so
I know.
Yeah.
So you're all freed. You're all freed up to get married again.
I am.
Freed up to get married again. I don't know what that means
yet, but no, fuck that.
Yeah. Oh, look at that. Not even 5 minutes in and we got you to say the F word. I'm proud of myself today.
Hey, I think it's been a few shows, so.
I think it's been quite a few shows. I don't think you've said a curse word in quite a while.
That's not true.
I mean curse words. I don't count shit. Shit's kind of, you can say that on regular TV. But if you drop like fuck or cunt, like those are like seriously bad words. So you did all right. Yeah, they are. So anyway, speaking of like being toxic and talking craziness and saying bad words all the time, we were going to talk about a toxic working environment because these days, I think toxic work environments can be multiple things. It can be just the company in general, or can be one employee that makes it absolutely horrible, or it can be incredibly shitty management. And I think that that's another like thing that can just make your work environment utterly toxic because some people get away with shit than other people.
That's true.
What about you? What else would you add to toxic work environment?
Well, my work environment's different. I mean, I have situations that I could point out. Like there was, at one point I needed to have surgery on my leg and it was going around that they might have to amputate it. I won't go into the story, but I just fucked my leg up really bad. There's 2 for you, Rob. Anyway,
that's good.
I had to give my clients to other hairdressers, and this one hairdresser told my clients that I had to have my leg amputated and I wasn't going to do hair anymore, but only did their hair on the days that I didn't work. And somehow, some way, I walked into my place of work and I saw a couple of my clients there and I was like, hey, how's it going? And they're like, oh, how are you? Oh my God, is that one lady asked if I had a fake leg? And
That's
I'm like,
awesome.
No, why? And she's like, because you got it amputated. I'm like, no, I didn't get it amputated.
Not yet.
She had told my clients that I had my leg amputated and wasn't going to do hair anymore. So that she could keep doing my clients. And it took about 3 or 4 months before I figured that out. But just, she was also somebody that she really made somebody else angry in the shop. And it was a crazy Saturday. And the 2 started yelling at each other, like down the aisleway, and F-bombs were dropped, and it was insanity. And I literally had to grab her by the front of her shirt, and I drug her into the back of the shop, and I grabbed the other chick by her wrist and pulled her in the back and all the way to the back of the parking lot. And I shut the door, and I was like, are you guys fucking crazy? We have a whole shop full of people and older people because, we do hair. So, and you guys are acting like this? I said, figure it out. And I turned around and locked them out of the shop.
Oh, well, that'll work.
But I mean, toxic environments, it was for a few minutes, but, it was handled. But you don't trust people after that, and you definitely don't let your guard down after that, and you don't do a lot of things because you have to. And when you don't trust somebody, especially somebody that you work closely with, you really watch everything closer than you would.
Right. My problem is like the one person that when you have a really good crew and it's the one person that just drags everyone down.
Yes.
And I've worked in several places that had that, where you're just like, they're like Debbie Downer, like no matter what, you're trying to have a decent time at work or whatever you're doing. And then they just turn it sideways to the point where
they always want to hear what's bad.
Yeah. Either that or they want to
add to it.
They'll definitely add to it. Or the ones that, like, no matter what you do, they'll find the negative in every story.
Mm-hmm.
Like, you're trying to tell something like, oh, dude, blah, blah, blah. And they'll be like, yeah, but this. And you're like, oh, dude, are you fucking serious? Just go sit in your desk and go away from us. Mm-hmm. So to me, that's my worst kind of toxic place, where it just seems no matter what you do, it's a no-win situation, because there's always that one person that fucks it up for everybody. That's
or
my
what about
thing.
The one that just likes to stir the pot, like always gets people fighting because they're, oh, did you hear what so-and-so said? Or, oh, did you hear what so-and-so did? I'm like, stop talking about stuff like that. Let it go. I'm trying to be, and it's funny. I should never be the voice of reason, because we all, we know. But anyway, when I'm the voice of reason in the situation, that's when you really know that you're out of line.
Yeah. When they're like, Tina's the one that's making sure everything's okay. Holy moly.
Yeah. I mean,
I think you're like that outside of work, maybe, because I think that you are kind of the problem solver. But
really? Maybe. I don't know.
Yeah, I see that I see that in you. I mean, my thing with with quote unquote toxic work environments is when it drives good people away.
Mm-hmm.
To where, they go and they take it and they take it and they take it, and until they snap. And I mean, I've worked in places where out of nowhere you come in one day and they're like, oh yeah, they don't work here anymore. You're like, what do you mean they don't work here anymore? Like, they were just here. Like, yeah, they quit. It's like, no notice, no nothing, just upright and quit. And had been there quite some time. I was like, wow, like, what happened? And then, you either hear through people close to management, or you hear from the manager because they're your friend, or, what the excuse was to leave. And it's usually another person that was just like, I couldn't take this person. I couldn't take having to deal with them every single day. And I was like, wow, like, how does it get there? And I've seen it in jobs that I've worked in the last 5 years, to where there are people who make you not want to come to work. And it's quite interesting, to where you're just like, holy shit. Like, I left a job, worked somewhere else, and wanted to come back to that same job. And I don't want to say problems, because I don't think I had problems. I had we just butted heads, me and someone else, who happened to be related to the owner.
Mm-hmm.
So I sat down during my re-interview, because I had to have another interview, or excuse me, not quite really an interview. I shouldn't say that. It was more of like I was going to get the job, but we wanted to go over the the certain things that would need to be met for me to come back. So we're talking, and this person was her daughter that I butted heads with. So we're sitting in this interview, and this is verbatim. This is exactly what I said, which is kind of funny. She's like, yeah, I know you don't get along with her, but can we make this work? And I was like, look, it's away from work. She was awesome. I had no problem with her. I had put some stuff up in her house, a couple other things. So away from work was great. But at work, she came off and she used the I'm the boss's daughter against you. And that never works for me. I don't play that shit. I don't care who you are. That's, you put up or shut up. So during my little thing, I was like, yeah, I have a problem with her. And, I just want to make sure that we have the least interaction we can, based on what we do. And she's like, yeah, okay, it shouldn't be a problem. I go, yeah. I go, because, she's kind of a cunt. And I said it just like that.
Oh my God.
Because she could be. And my boss goes, oh yeah, she can be. And I was like,
wow.
Yeah. And I was like, look, and I had no problems with her when I went back. Actually, we had a good working relationship, but there had to be an understanding. I was like, look, I'm not coming back here to, cause
be
trouble, but I also don't want to hear, that kind of, I don't want to hear I'm the boss's daughter or I'm the boss's son. Cause I don't care. I got hired here for a reason, and if I'm not producing, trust me, I got dragged into that office a lot for doing things. And
things.
Yeah. Like being snotty or just work related things. I had a big mouth. I don't hold things in. So if I have a problem, I have no problem telling people about it. Like upper management, I don't care. It's like, look, there's, once they're either going to train you to stay or train you to leave. Right? You go to a place, they're going to train you and give you all this knowledge. And there's another place across the street that does the same shit. You're just going to train me to leave. I'm going to go make more money somewhere else. And then I'm going to come back when you need me and I'm going to make more money again. So just make me happy while I'm here and I'll never leave. So that's kind of that's what I was always told. My old boss told me when I was working there, he goes, learn so much they can't fire you.
Mm-hmm.
Because once you do that, it's great. But we had a small toxic environment there. There was a time where the girls who worked in the office really didn't know parts very well, but they were supposed to. So we would call in and I'd ask for a certain part. And the girl's like, yeah, I don't know if we have any. So I'd have to come in, walk to the back, look for the part, see what it is. So we had a big meeting between the girls in the office and the guys in the field. And they didn't like bash us, but they were throwing out things that we did wrong as a crew. And the one girl goes, so is there anything that you guys want us you would like to say to us? And most of the people were very quiet and would sit on their hands and not say anything. And I just leaned over and I was like, yeah, you guys need to learn things. I go, you're useless if I call you from the field and ask you if we have something and you don't know what it is. And then I got to drive all the way out here. I go, isn't your job to know this? And it got really quiet. And like they got all pissy with me. I got dragged in the office for that one. But I went to my boss and I was like, I didn't say anything shitty. I just said the truth. And they didn't want to hear the truth. I was like, I wasn't trying to be mean. I was just being honest. And those are the things that can get you in trouble. But I didn't want a toxic environment at work. I wanted everyone to be happy. But you can't throw stones if you're in a glass house.
That's very true.
So, but to me, those are the toxic traits, the ones that are just, they're looking for something to be wrong so they can either prove it, like, oh, I told you were wrong. Or they want to throw their knowledge in your face. It's like, okay. Those are things that just drag people to quit. And these days with being canceled or not being able to say certain things or stand up for yourself, I think that it's got to be, really worse. I work at a place where we say things that in most places would get us fired. But I
can say whatever I want to and not get fired.
Like, I work in a place that's all guys. There's only 7 of us. Like, we say horrible shit to each other. Horrible stuff. That again, I'm sure if I said it out loud on here, there'd be people that would be offended over it.
Like what?
No. I can't do that. I'll get canceled. Someone will be mad and stop listening.
Nah.
But yeah, but we all have that understanding. I didn't go into there throwing bombs on them with, I learned the people that I could talk to that way, and some of the people who I don't talk that way to anybody or just everybody.
Yeah, you have to know your audience and know,
correct,
who's going to be okay with it. Like, you could say something to me that you probably couldn't say to most other women.
Yes, it's probably true.
Yeah, you have to have that.
I get away with a lot with you.
Or I get away a lot with you. I don't know which is which.
I mean, I would say that my filter with you is pretty non-existent.
Good. I like when everybody treats me as if they don't have one. That's when you get the best stories.
Well, and I think that's when you get the best humor and the best
relationships too.
Yeah, just being natural, being who you are. So, that toxic trait, if you take that to work, ends up being something it's such a downer. It's like an anchor. It's like dragging an anchor around work all day long. I mean, and I've worked at places literally where I was like, I don't want to come here anymore. I would call in sick during the week. I would look at my schedule, knowing what I had to do, and because we had it in advance, and I just call in sick on that day. And be like, I'm not doing it.
Wow.
Yeah, it was bad.
I had a coworker that used to just screw with me. I don't know why. I didn't like her from the get. So when I don't like somebody, I just look past them and keep going. I don't try to get involved. The minimal amount of effort it takes to stay away from them. That's what I want, for myself. So she was relentless with screwing with me. So I would tell a client something during a consultation, and she'd come over and she'd be like, "Can I see what you're talking about?" And she'd be like, "Well, you could do this or that," which was completely contrary to what I had just said. And then she would say, well, Tina's your hairdresser. God bless. Like, what? And then you throw God on top of it. I was like, man, bitch. And this went on. Well, so she did that a lot. And so then I did a couple of things back, just like she did, to like say, you know what, this is bullshit that you do this. But it just fueled the fire. I don't know if she was trying to get my attention because she wanted to be my friend, but she didn't know how to be normal. Or was she really out to get me? I hate to think that anybody's out to get somebody else. Like, I'm not a victim. So if that was her thing, I don't want to let that, leave a taste in my mouth. But anyway, we'll just say she wanted me to be her friend. And I couldn't freaking handle her because every time I turned around, she was contradicting me. And then she'd throw in God bless. And I just wanted to slap her before she got to God bless. Or she would tell me, "Oh, have a good weekend, Tina. I'll pray for you." No, I don't want you praying for me. If I need some prayer, I'll pray for myself. Or better yet, why don't you pray that I don't strangle you next week? Because that's really what I need help with. Like, wow. And I would tell her these things like, don't pray for me. I don't need that from you. Not that again, I don't want to piss everybody off and say prayer is not, a powerful thing. It is. I just didn't want her talking shit and then saying she'd pray for me, because all I wanted to do was slap her with something. Yeah. It got really annoying. And she did that for a couple years. And I did leave that shop. I couldn't freaking take the religious aspect of it that was being thrown my way. But she drove me to drink, that lady. And I ran into her once and I was like, oh God, there she is. And she's like, Tina, oh my God, it's so good to see you. And I was like, please just let me die.
Please go away.
She was so much, though. It was nonstop. It was relentless. It was multiple times during the day. And, when you're a hairdresser and you want people to have faith in you, that you got them, whatever they want to talk to you about, you got them. However you want your hair done, you got them. She just fucked with me so much. And I honestly, I couldn't even, the things I said to her thinking that she would leave me alone just fueled the fire. And it made my life miserable at a place that I like to work for a couple years. I did not want to go to work.
Yeah, it's a killer. It's crazy how one person can suck the life out of you. Mm-hmm. Or suck the life out of the place you work. Because I've worked at a place where it was everyone. Like, this one person did it to every single person that worked there. And you could go across the board on how they would, again, like, drag you down. It wasn't even like, I don't even know how to say what they did.
It was like a looming cloud over everybody.
That's probably the best way of saying it. It was just this, it was like a storm. Every time you walked into the place, you could hear the thunder and lightning in the background, and you're just like, oh yeah. So I'm sure that it's that this isn't a new thing. I'm sure that the toxic work environment has been around for quite some time.
And in all honesty, I don't think ours have been that bad.
I don't either. I think all in all, we've probably been pretty good. Like I said, with the exception of one job where it was rough. It was so hard to go to work because you just knew that no matter what you said or did, it was going to turn into this just bad thing. So, but I think it's a lot more common than we think. At least talking to some of my other friends, and they're in like much different fields. So it's kind of like all over. I have a friend who's a nurse, and she's a supervisor. So she is a nurse, but she went in and became a supervisor. And to hear her stories about how nurses are, it's, because they just have like weird stories. Like, she's just like this and this. And it's like, it's compounded because once you become a supervisor, it's like you're out of the crew. Mm-hmm. You know what I mean? Like, you're not part of the clique anymore because you're not union. Mm-hmm. Like, that's, the same with my best friend. Once he became a supervisor, everyone's view of him changed.
I get that. So because they have more authority. Kind of weird. So you have to act a little different. And then my other nurse friend, the one who lives closest here, she would tell me stories about like the people in HR or the people that did the schedule, because there's someone who does the schedule for different doctors, and how it was just insane how that person treated people. So and again, like, I don't think that it ever got to the point where she was like, I want to quit, but
how, the things she called her were almost like I fell out of my chair.
What?
And I was like, oh yeah. Well, I mean, what she called the person who made the schedule, like her nickname for her. Cause it's, everyone didn't like her. So they all had these little nicknames I can't say. It's bad. It's a Spanish word though, which is kind of funny. But those are like kind of the things as well, where like it's a kind of across the board where you'd think like a doctor's office or a medical building would be like better because you're around professionals. You know what I mean? That no, it's not, because you're around people, and people are the problem. It's not the profession.
Absolutely.
Because I mean, I've worked at places, mostly my early jobs. Like I worked at an arcade for a while when I was 18. And even there, you'd think, all you do is like collect change and make sure people don't do dumb crap. But even there, it was like we had a guy who worked a night shift and someone wanted to change with him and he had a conniption fit. I worked the night shift and it's like, whoa, crazy person. It's one night. Like, don't get batty. And it's crazy how people are so selfish, I guess. And I think that kind of thing is what makes another thing about work a toxic environment where it's just not a team player. When you don't have team players, mostly in a place where you really have to have it. If you work in an office and you have your own office and you do your own thing and you really don't report to anyone but the boss, like literally anyone, have at it. Do whatever you want, play your music, put whatever it is on your desk. But when you work in a pit or a place where you work off of each other, kind of like you do, even though you're kind of an independent contractor, you have to have a good working environment between the people, because you don't want to walk in there and their issues now are your client's problem.
Yeah.
And that makes them not want to come back to you, because they're like, yeah, she works in this crazy ass place. The hell do I want? What the hell do I want to go there for? So it's a weird thing that you have to kind of look at when you start looking in the environments that are a problem.
I get that. And it does, it seems like it affects everything. Like it affects productivity. It affects people's morale. It just doesn't, it doesn't seem to be like it ever plays out in a positive manner. Like somebody giving everybody a hard time. It doesn't make the situation better, or it doesn't change the way that other people are. They just become defensive. And if they're defensive, they're not going to be reacting in a way that's positive in any manner. But I see that a lot happening. Like, I don't have it much anymore. I think all of us are just kind of, once you've been around the block a few times, you get in your groove and you don't worry about what everybody else is doing. You kind of got your own life. So I don't really experience any of that anymore. But back when I was first a hairdresser, the drama and the crap that went on amongst the shorter termed hairdressers was pretty insane. Where the old timers, they didn't have any of that drama. They had their established group of people that they worked on, and they did their thing, and then they went home. And I watched them and said, I don't want to be a part of this young crowd. I don't want any part of it. Like, I'm going to hang out with the people that have been around the block, hopefully learn from them, and then everything will be all right. Like, I don't like to make waves, especially. I don't like to make waves where I have to be. I don't like to make them really at all anyway. But when you're working, you don't need that shit. I already have a hard time not wanting to go to work. I don't need other people helping that out. I'm having my own struggles.
Well, I mean, and it's it's twofold as well, because like, let's say you're having a shitty time at home. Sometimes your work is your escape.
Oh yeah.
And you don't want to go to the place where you're like, oh, at least I have a few hours away to decompress, and then go to a place that's just as shitty. And you're like, for God's sakes, no, let's do that. Or, or you don't want to have such a toxic work environment. You take it home every day, and the only thing you want to talk about is how shitty work is.
Yeah, no.
It's like,
when I leave, I don't say anything about work. People say, how was work? I'm like, it was good, but I don't want to talk about it. It's not. If there was a fun story that somebody told me, or something that I can't believe I was told, I'll share that, because I've got some really good stories over the years. Like, you just got to share them, because you can't believe what you're hearing. But no, I don't even think about work when I walk out the door. I'm already like, wait, what? I thought we were doing something else, So, but I've been very, very lucky for that. Like, my ex, when he left work, he was still at work, and his brain worked for hours at work, even though he wasn't there. I don't know what I would do with a job like that. I think that's a toxic work environment. When you can't get it out of your head, that's a lot, Couldn't do it.
Yeah, it's a mental thing for sure. I took my work home for a couple of years and kind of took it out on my kid, and kind of woke up one day and I was like, I'm not going to let the environment ruin me.
Yeah.
And from that day forward, and that was about let's say 6 years ago, 6 or 7 years ago, probably 6. I told my supervisor, I said, look, this is where I'm at. I'm going to tell you right now, when this door closes behind my butt, I don't care. Don't call me about work. Don't ask me about work.
Yeah.
Unless I'm on call. I don't care. and
shouldn't.
And I literally.
And shouldn't.
And you shouldn't.
We shouldn't
even
live
now,
to work. We should work to live. There's something to be said for that.
That's a huge thing. I totally agree. I'll give you an example. So the guys at my work right now, they have the company email on their cell phone, their personal cell phone. And they have some of our clients call them on their personal cell phones away from work. So, and then look, they've been doing this a long time, and it's a sales industry. But one day some guy called me and was like, oh yeah, can you text me this? And I was like, no. And they're like, well, what do you mean? I go, no, I don't have a phone. And they kind of were like, you don't have a phone? I go, I don't have a phone that I do for work. I have a personal phone that I don't give my number out. And they were like, kind of offended. They were like, oh. I was like, well, I'll email it to you. But I'm not sending you off my phone number. I think that's
great. You should have boundaries. Work should not affect your home life. It just shouldn't.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. And I was like, having none of that shit. I was like, mm-mm. And so one day, one of the guys in my work's like, oh, did you get the email over the weekend? I was like, no. Like, what do you mean no? I was like, I don't have the company email on my phone. They're like, you don't? I was like, no, I refuse to do it. And they were like, you just said you weren't going to do it. I said, yeah, that's exactly what I said.
And you should be like that.
And I said, if you want me to have email, you'll get me a phone. And they were like, oh, we can't do that for everybody. Then you're not putting it on my phone, because that's my personal phone.
Right.
And I'm sure that I got chastised somewhere for it, but I refused. I'm like, look, that's my border. When I'm here, I'll work my ass off for you. And I'll from 7 to 4 or 8 to 5, I'll bust my ass when I'm here, but I'm not, at 4:01 or 5:01, I'm done. And I don't think about it. I don't care. To me, everything can be dealt with tomorrow. That's how I look at it.
You're right.
Once you're off work, I'll deal with it tomorrow. And I know a lot of people don't like hearing that, but that's the rule of thumb to be happy, I think. Taking your shit home is the kiss of death, and it's toxic for you and the environment that you're in. So if you have that boundary when I go to work, that's what to me makes my work less toxic. Because I don't let it to there. Even though I might work with somebody who gets under my skin every blue moon, I do my best to go, okay. And just keep going, because some people you just can't fix, and
why would you
can't
fix
let
anybody? Just stay out of their way. Just don't.
Well, yeah,
don't get caught up in it.
It's like the team player aspect. I've worked with people who aren't team players, and you can't fix that. But it would drive me kind of bonkers. Like, dude, we do all this shit. Why don't you just do what we do? And they were like, So I'm like, all right. And it bothered me at first, but now, like I said, I just go, okay, whatever. But I'm also the kind of person that goes, don't ask me to do shit then. When you need it, don't come looking my way, because I don't do that. I'll do it for him and him, because they always do me good. If you do me dirty, then I can't help you. So, there's something to be said about that. But I don't want that. I don't want to work in that kind of environment ever again. I'm much too old for that. I think as people, we have to understand that you have to work in a difficult environment. I'm okay with that. That's just part of being a worker, and being around some folks that you will never get along with, but you have to still be a team. Wrestling locker rooms were quite like that.
Really?
There were there was lots of people that I won't say I didn't like them. I will say that we were different kind of people.
Yeah, I always say they're just not my people.
Yeah, I did my best to stay away from them in the best of ways. Like, I was never a dick to them, but I was definitely, I didn't put myself in the way of their train. I let them do their shit and be them, and not let it affect me. I went, did whatever I needed to do, and then I left. And that's kind of how I take it to whatever job I go to.
Yeah.
Because when you're in a locker room full of many, many, many different kind of personalities, or you work for a company that has 30, 40, 50 people in the same building, if not more, you can't let a couple of people drag you down, because it would make it absolutely horrible. So I do my best to, be great and do my thing with all the people that I can. I understand as who I am that I'm not going to get along with everybody. And sometimes you have to just understand that and stay away from the toxic people.
I was going to ask you, what do you do to deal with it? But that's pretty much, you're telling me what I would do, which is just bob and weave, like get away from them. Try to just not deal. I just don't deal with people like that. So that would be my answer too.
Yeah. It just makes it simpler for everyone.
Yep.
And even when those people try to drown me, I do my best to swim away.
Yep.
Because it's going to do nothing but blow up. And the last thing I want to do is be the crazy one blowing up because you can't take it anymore. Yeah.
I get that.
Or being the one guy that just like, did you hear what Rob did today?
Because it's always like the person that loses their shit. It's always like they're crazy. It's never what led up to that.
It's never the toxic person. It's never the person who did the crazy shit from the very beginning. You're like, he's been doing this shit forever, right? It's the one who loses their gasket.
Yeah, absolutely.
And so I just don't even get involved. I hear that shit going on in the background. I just go,
right.
Walk over this way.
Exactly.
Just go. And then I get the one that later on where they're like, did you hear about what happened? I'm like, nope.
I always get that.
Yeah.
And I'm like, no, I didn't.
Always.
What happened? I want to hear about it. I just don't want to be a part of it.
Yeah. I think now maybe with less or more online work where you don't go in. Mm-hmm. I would love, I had 5 days off this last week. I've realized that's the kind of job I want now. I want a job where I just wake up, go to my computer, do my shit.
You can't isolate, and you would. You're already isolating.
I think I'd be okay though. It was great. Hang around with my dog all day.
Do you realize what it took for me to get you talking in the first place? If you started to isolate, I'd never get you out of the house.
No, I think that I disagree with that. I think I would still be who I am. I just think it would be an easier thing where I don't have to deal with folks. Don't have to drive into work, that kind of thing. I don't know. I could be wrong, but I definitely was like, I think I could do it, but who knows? I think I would have to have a place where I had an office. Mm-hmm. Like, I think that if you do that, you can't have your computer in your bedroom. Because my friend in North Carolina, when I went to visit her, she had her, because she was living in an apartment at the time, she had her computer for work in her bedroom. And yeah, since then, she bought a house, so she was going to have an office. And I said, and that's what I told her. The first thing you need to do is get an office.
I agree with that.
Because you have to have a place that's work, and then the rest of your place is home. And that's the only way you can make that work. Because if I had to get up out of bed and literally just roll over and get on my computer in my same room, I would probably have an issue.
Yeah, I wouldn't want that. But then again, I don't want to work on a computer either. So there's that.
Yeah, I mean, unfortunately, I do now. So but I also deal with human beings who walk in. Mm-hmm. So, but I get in trouble for talking too much too. So
no,
who knows? Yeah, I get in trouble all the time. Yeah. Someone was like, "Did you talk too much?" I go, "Yeah, I know. I can't help it." Because once I get rolling on a conversation, it's bad. And heaven forbid it's about something other than work, like guns or politics or whatever.
Get you started on those things.
I just ramp up, man. I was like, "Frah!" So yeah, those are kind of the fun ones. So, but hey, we're near the end of our show here.
Yeah, we're definitely on time.
Let's we're over by a little bit. We'll see with the little snub in issues with our audio that no one else saw or heard, because I don't think you could hear it. My thing is, toxic work environments will drain you to death. If you feel like you're in one, you have to find a way out. Absolutely. Most if it's one that's just absurdly burying you or sinking you to the bottom of the pool. It's you have a very short time on this planet. Mm-hmm.
Best to be happy.
Best to be the happiest you can. Mm-hmm. And if that one person's fucking it up for you, you got to find a way out. That would be my thing.
I get you. I'm with you on that too.
Good. See, we agree on a lot of shit. We got to get somebody on here who disagrees with us. If not, we're in a lot of trouble.
I think it's okay.
Yeah, man,
we've been doing it this long. It's okay.
That's true. I know. That's very true. So on that, you can check us out on our socials, Facebook, Instagram, and Twitter. It's Don't Get This Twisted on all of them. Also on YouTube. And then you can hear us on Apple, Spotify, Google, Amazon, iHeartRadio, and pretty much every place you can hear a podcast. You can check our link in the description of this show to go to our webpage and our email. So if you want to see past shows, you can check it out there or on any of our podcasting places. You see that guy in the background there? You see that guy? That's cool, right?
You saying it's time to get up, Dad?
Yes. Yeah. My dog just laid on the bed behind me, and he's like, it's time to go. He wants to nap out. He's pissed at me. He needs to go for a walk.
Well, go do it.
So besides that, this is an opinion show, so don't get it twisted. Keep coming back every Wednesday to hear us, and we're going to have lots of fun stuff for the new year. Anything else to say there, Miss Tina?
No, I'm good on that one.
Awesome. All right. We'll talk to you guys later.
Bye.
Bye.